This is so daunting. So, as Matt said, the clip that you just watched there is from a TV series called The Chosen, and yeah, it's so powerful. That is just one little 3-minute clip, but yeah, the series definitely had me in tears multiple times. Just brings Bible stories to life. Yeah, really insane. So if you haven't watched, it's a plug to go and watch it. So as you've seen throughout the service so far, our incredible young people have been sharing in this series about being made holy. And I think this series, Matt and I were speaking about it, like, it has been such an encouragement for us to see our young people actually take the Word of God and try and change their lives and kind of put it into practice. So just want to say I'm so proud of you all. We are so proud of you all. And yeah, keep it up. So I'm just going to read from Mark 1, verse 40 to 45. It says, "A man with leprosy came to him and begged him on his knees, 'If you are willing, you can make me clean.' Jesus was compassionate. He reached out his hand and touched the man. 'I am willing,' he said. 'Be clean.' Immediately the leprosy left him and he was cleansed. Jesus sent him away at once with a strong warning. 'See that you don't tell this to anyone, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer you the sacrifices that Moses commanded for your cleansing as a testimony to them.' Instead, he went out and began to talk freely, spreading the news. As a result, Jesus could no longer enter a town openly, but stayed outside in lonely places. Yet people still came from everywhere to see him." So this story is the first record of Jesus healing someone with leprosy in the Bible, and it's actually recorded in 3 of the 4 Gospels, which only happens with a few stories. At the time of this miracle, leprosy was the most dreaded disease of all time. It was basically seen as a life sentence. Anyone with leprosy had to leave everything behind: their family, their friends, their home. They had to wear special clothing and shout, "Unclean, unclean," whenever they were near people. Throughout the Bible, we hear of people who have had leprosy: Moses' sister in Numbers, Naaman in 2 Kings, and so many others. Although to us having leprosy may seem extreme and like we can't relate, we totally can. We have all experienced a feeling of being left out in our lives, of being excluded, of lonely, of having to leave someone, somewhere, something for a reason outside of our control. We can see in the passage the leper's helplessness. This is a situation outside of his control, something he can't see a way out of. He can't fix himself. Except he sees Jesus. His hunger and his need drives him to Jesus. Can we say the same for the response of ourselves when we're in a situation outside of our control? What is our first response? In the healing of this man, you can see in the video, Jesus physically reaches out and touches the man. He physically touches him, but sometimes when we come to Jesus with a desire or a hunger to be holy, it can look different to what it looks like for the people around us and their needs. Whenever we come hungry to Jesus, what he gives us may not taste like what we were expecting. However, the goal is still the same: to be holy and cleansed. Take Naaman, for example. In 2 Kings 5, God spoke to Naaman through Elisha, saying, "Wash in the river Jordan 7 times to be healed." Whereas in this story, he similarly healed the man of leprosy, but instead he reached out and touched him. What I'm trying to say is that when we come to Jesus, we don't know what he'll ask us to do, but his desire is always to help us. It may look different to the person beside us, and we live in a culture where looking different to the person beside us is sometimes not seen as a positive thing. It's so easy to get caught up in those around us and in the norm. But when it comes to God, he has shown time and time again, he doesn't conform to the patterns of this world, and neither should we. In Romans 12:2, it says, "Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve that God's will, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." It doesn't get much clearer than that. Touching this man is so significant. When he touches the man, this would have made him, by law, unclean. He would have become an outcast just like the leper. But he chooses to physically touch this man. Even just the words of Jesus are powerful enough to heal. We have seen time and time again. But there is something incredibly significant about the fact that Jesus chooses to touch this man. Jesus has already counted the cost for us on the cross. Nothing will stand in the way of him helping us. but only if we're hungry for it. Jesus is ultimately and completely holy. Whatever we think or see as unholy, whatever we feel makes us unworthy, he is still willing and able to heal, touch, change, and purify us. It is God's desire for us to be made holy. He wants to cleanse and heal and purify us. He wants to make us whole so that we can testify to his power and holiness. So I play a lot of sport. Some of you who know me will know that. And one of the things that people don't realise is that although to play sport at a high level, you have to have incredible skill. Sometimes you just have to take it back to the basics. Sometimes you just have to do the simple things. Right before you even begin to think about making it more complicated, you've got to get the basics and have a good foundation. And I'm learning, it's a journey, but I'm learning that this is the same for our walk with God. When we do the basics right and we get our priorities straight, the big things don't seem so daunting. When we feed our hunger with the source of life, and that is Jesus, and we let our hunger drive us to be holy, things change. We begin focusing on trying to become holy rather than the issue that we're facing. After this miracle, Jesus tells the man to go and show himself to the priests and at the temple. And this is important because he couldn't just go home. The man could not just go home or be restored to his own life until he had been verified that the leprosy was gone. And what Jesus did for this man enables him to have a complete restoration of life. He went from being an outcast on his own, alone, with no hope, to fully, within one touch of Jesus, being completely restored. Our God is a God of restoration, and this is just one example in the Bible that shows us this. But it's only when our desire and our hunger to be holy brings us to the feet of Jesus can we experience this restoration in full. In this story, it's not just a physical healing, but it's a spiritual healing as well. The total renewal of life has been given, a second chance, allowing this man total and complete freedom. This is the beauty of holiness. God is providing freedom for us. Holy, blameless, pure, set apart. He gives us the opportunity to be free and to represent him and be examples of his life-changing power, love, and compassion. His hunger to be holy led him to restoration. Jesus is willing. Jesus has shown us time and time again that he is willing. He's shown he's willing to put himself out for our sake to help us. Mark 10:45 says, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." He is willing to go against the norm and to stand out for you. But are you hungry hungry to be holy enough to let him? We don't have to do anything apart from let. When we're hungry, we have a choice of what we eat. I love food. That is like my favourite thing. See, if I'm sad, eat food. If I'm happy, eat food. And we have a choice of what we eat. It doesn't matter where you are. You have access to, if you want bread, if you want chips, if you want chocolate, we have access to choose what we eat. The world shows us that this is a lavish feast right at our fingertips. But it's not fulfilling, and it doesn't last any longer than a meal would. In 2 Corinthians 4:18, it says, We do not look at the things which are seen, but the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporary, but the things which are not are eternal. We can look at Jesus with the woman at the well. He tells her, if she drinks of the living water, she will never thirst again. And this is the same for us. When we feast on the word of Jesus, when we feast on our hunger to be holy, we will not go hungry. We might have to walk a little further. We might have to give up a little more. But sacrifice for Jesus isn't really a sacrifice. When we feast on the things of Jesus, our lives are transformed. We live in a world where it's all about self-help, self-awareness, self-this, self-that. We're programmed, oh goodness, we're programmed that, I've just completely gone off the screen. We're programmed that our lives are our own problem and we have to find our own solutions. But the Bible tells us that the only thing that self has to do is to bring us to the feet of Jesus. In Philippians 4:6-7, it says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." So I've spoken a little bit about playing sport, and about 5 years ago, I made the decision to step into the coaching pathway and to become a coach. And this was, it was a big step for me, but very exciting. And in order for me to become a good coach, I had to find a good coach to be like. Because in order to be something, you've got to see someone who is that thing already and strive to be like them. I chose a woman who has coached me for my whole life, through good seasons and bad, through making squad selections and missing out on squad selections. She has shown herself to be compassionate, reliable, trustworthy. Everything I've learnt from her. She is a perfect demonstration of what a good coach is and what I want to be to other people. To become a good coach, I spent time with her, I asked her my questions, I watched things that she did and reflected, and then I chose which of those things I was going to incorporate into my own coaching and my own coaching philosophy. This is exactly the same with our relationship with Jesus. If we have a hunger to be holy, we have to find someone who is the ultimate demonstration of what it means to be holy. In Isaiah 63, it says, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty." In Psalm 89:35, it says, "God alone is God. God is holy." In 1 Samuel 2:2, it says, "There is no one holy like the Lord. There is no one beside you." If we are truly hungry to be holy, and if we desire to be holy, we must align ourselves with God as our mentor. We must spend time with him. We must read about him. We must reflect on the things that he's done and how we can incorporate those things into our lives. We must try and mimic the characteristics of Jesus and allow it to transform the people around us. We must rely on Jesus for our feast. Unlike with my coach, when we had disagreements or times when we let each other down, and that happens because we're all human, God never will. He is the one and only consistent strength. He is the one hope that we have that will never change, that will never fail, that will never let us down. I think it's safe to say that none of us struggle to be hungry. But trials in life can distract us from what our hunger drives us to. We can see other people eating things that maybe look like a quick fix or like a slightly better option. But as Christians, we must make a conscious decision to choose what our hunger drives us towards. And are we hungry to be holy? So I just want to invite the worship team to come up just as I finish off. So no matter what season you're in, you play a part in God's story. Your hunger, no matter what it looks like, as long as it's for Jesus, will inspire those around you, whether you know it or not. Being hungry to be holy is a choice. Sometimes it's not the easy choice, but it's the more satisfying, more worthwhile choice. It's a daily decision. We all have a hunger, but we have to decide what our hunger leads us towards. Thank you.